Around the Ozarks is now on your FM radio. Listen to Around the Ozarks mornings with Grace Gooley as I spotlight local people, stories, and podcasts, all while playing the country legends of the 90s and the hit makers of the 2000s. It's on the Ozarks Best Country, 105.1 The Bull. It's time for Around the Ozarks Sports Scene, brought to you by Colton Steakhouse, Thompson Sales, and Deadeye Gun and Pawn in Sparta. Here's your host, Scott Purrier.
Welcome into another edition of Around the Ozarks Sports Scene, our first edition of the new year. Happy New Year to all. Hope everybody had a great time over the holidays. And basketball season is heating up, which means it's time to catch up with the Tournament of Champions, Bass Pro Tournament Champions Director, as well as the Springfield Public Schools Director of Athletics, Josh Scott. Josh, thanks for joining me.
Hey, Scott. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I know that, we're taping this on Tuesday of this week, and I always like to check and see the national high school polls right before the Tournament of Champions, and Max Preps came out with their latest edition today, and it was good news.
Yeah, it's hard to believe when you had 5 in the top 11 that it could get better, but now we have 5 in the top 8. So we've had some good movement. You know, it's these polls and these teams. It's so hard to figure out where they're going to be because they all play each other. But you know, we've got 1, 2, 5, 6, and 8. So we're very excited for next week.
Absolutely. And of course, next week is the 41st edition of the Bass Pro Tournament Champions, January 15, 16, and 17 at Great Southern Bank Arena on the Missouri State campus. Is this number 7 or 8 for you on the TSC now?
Well, 7.5.
Okay.
We did everything for the tournament going into 2020 when COVID hit us and stopped everything. So we had our teams, we had our flights, we had the arena set, we had our workers, and had to quickly pivot. So we were one of the last events to take place in there before everything shut down. And if you remember, Scott, we hosted Sunrise Christian B Team, Hartville, Kickapoo, and Greenwood for a little classic. So I call that the 0.5. But as far as tournament, I've been here 8 years, and Tournament of Champions, this is number 7 for me.
Well, and may have outdone yourself this year with the field, as you mentioned there, the Max Preps poll that came out today. The 18 field includes number 1 ranked Paul VI out of Chantilly, Virginia, number 2 Principia. So you got the number 1 and number 2 teams ranked in the nation coming in. Principia out of the St. Louis area. Number 5 Calvary Christian. Number 6, and they're out of Florida. Number 6 Bartlett, Tennessee, just outside of Memphis. And then number 8, Wheeler, Georgia, which actually was number 1 for a while earlier this year. And of course, the only out-of-area team that's not in that top 10 is St. John Bosco, which has been in the top 10 and 15 most of the year already. They are the 6th. And then 2 local teams, Logan Rogersville, which has probably the state's best player, maybe in Chase Branham, the 6'4" junior guard, and then Springfield Kickapoo, which – with Mitch McHenry's off to another great start. So kind of your summary of the field this year. You couldn't be much more pleased, did you?
Every week that goes, the field gets better. I will tell you, it's so hard when you're doing this, 18 months to 12 and 10 months before the event to figure out who do we want to get, who do we want to have. And one of the things, Scott, and I think it's age of being in this role is I've had to grow a little bit of patience. There's several. St. John Bosco, we got them 18 months ago when they had McCoy. Christian Collins really hadn't blown up to the level that he has right now, but I knew we wanted them. Paul VI, we were in very, very early on them, probably 15 months ago. We were in on Paul VI, and I just remember talking to Glenn Farello 2 years ago when they were here, and he looked at Jordan, and this is when he had a starting lineup, 2 going to Duke, 1 going to Notre Dame, 1 going to Rhode Island, and the other, and then Jordan was the 5th. And he looked at me and he goes, "You see Jordan?" And I was like, "Yeah, the sophomore." And he goes, "He's going to be a pro." And he told me that when he was a sophomore, looking at him, and it's like, man, you've got Dylan Harris on the team, and the kid that you're pointing out to me is the sophomore Jordan Harris. So we knew we wanted him back. I honestly, Principia, we saw him in a quarterfinal game, and then at the Final Four for Misha. Had no idea they were going to develop into what they've developed into. Jay Blossom, love him. He does an outstanding job. So you knew they were going to be good and quality, but it just had no idea they were going to grow into the team that they are right now. And then Dion Reel out of Bartlett. Sometimes these people that have been here and have coached in the tournament, when they call you back and say, "I have a team that can do it," you tend to believe them. And then the real focus we've tried to have is on bringing coaches in who have that personal touch and that personal relationship as a focus with their kids. Because what's so important for us is that the kids stay in the programs that they're in. So it's just flourished. Coach Wheeler was here years ago with a different team, and he reached out and said, "Hey, we're going to be really, really good." I didn't know that all 5 of his starters were going to sign to play Division I basketball, but that's just kind of worked out really, really well too. So we're thrilled.
And Jordan Smith Jr. of Paul VI, who by most counts is 1 or 2 nationally among the individual rankings, and still an unsigned star. He's about a 6'3" guard, combo guard type that, if anybody watched the City of Palms finals and semis, the guy can just light it up, and still has Duke and Arkansas and Kentucky and a few others that are courting him. So we always hope that we get some special guests at the Bass Pro TSC, and maybe we see John Calipari or John Shire or some of those guys show up.
Yeah, we will always make room for those people. My hard part is going to be keeping some of the Arkansas people from, just south of me here in Springfield from giving too many ideas and suggestions. But
Sure.
We're excited. I mean, we always try to bring the best kids and the best groups and the best teams that we can in, but we have at least 2 kids in here that can go wherever they want to go.
Yeah.
And when you have that type of talent in the gym, it's a special weekend.
And the other one would be Christian Collins of St. John Bosco, who's unsigned and 6'8", 6'9" senior. And the Bosco situation, them not being ranked now, is a perfect indication of what you face and what you fight in competing and completing these TSC fields. I mean, when you got them 15, 18 months ago, they looked like they were going to have 3 potential McDonald's All-Americans going into this year. Transfer portal got a couple of them this year, or one of them right before the season, but they're still coming, and Christian Collins is very good, and I know they're going to be very representative. Coach Dunn does a great job with Bosco.
Yeah, we got them 18 months ago, like we said, and it was really had Brandon McCoy, and then they have Christian Collins, and then all of a sudden Ariza ends up there, and we're like, holy cow, this just keeps getting better. And then unfortunately the inverse happened a little bit, into this year where McCoy ended up going to Sierra Canyon. And that opened the door for someone else to transfer into Bosco. And then shortly after, Ariza ended up down in Branson, actually with Link, I believe, ended up transferring down there. And when that happened, I just called Matt and had a conversation with him and said, what are we looking at? What do you have? And he said, Josh, we're still really, really good. And we will be a team to deal with in the California State Championships. And at that point, they were absolutely our best option. And I trust Matt and value him. And I think they're going to put a great show on. And if you look at their record, they are competing against the best teams in the country.
So the 42nd edition will be in 2027. In your mind, how many of those spots do you already have filled temporarily, at least?
We have, I would say, I think I have 5 out, not counting the locals.
Uh-huh.
So we're, what's funny is we get to this point, Thursday we had the press conference, which is a big hump for us to get over. next Wednesday night, all the teams land or get here on buses. That's the second bump that I like to get over. And then, believe it or not, while operating and running and working through with our team, this current one, I'm like, we have to start getting some contracts out for next year's. So I know I'm fighting the hoop hall out of Springfield, Mass. I know that we're looking at the City of Palms out of Florida. I know you have the hoop halls out west, and then you have the tournament out in Hawaii that all of the same teams are looking at. So I think I'm thrilled with the team that we have, the teams that we have for this year. I wish we didn't have as much crossover with the City of Palms this year, because it really made it put a different issue into creating a bracket for us for this year.
Trying to keep teams away from each other that had already played and things like that, right?
Yeah, I feel like we owe it to them, if we're going to bring them from California or Florida or Virginia, that they shouldn't see someone in round one or round two that they've seen already that year.
Well, and you talk about talking to Glenn Farello at Paul VI with Jordan Smith Jr. coming back 2 years ago. You look at a Bartlett now, and Bartlett's three best kids are a junior and two sophomores. Is that somebody that you will keep an eye on for 28? Is a team like Bartlett that has two really good sophomores, and if they can keep that group together, that's kind of what you look at, isn't it, out down the line?
That's a team that I'm really, not to put too much out there, but I'm really curious how they do this year, because if that core group stays, that's a team that we could look at doing a back-to-back.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a whole lot of back-to-backs, but one of the keys as far as what we really look for and hone in on is who has those juniors. We like the idea of signing kids with a junior class, because the likelihood of them still being at that school is really high. So we look there, we focus on that. So they're definitely in the mix for 28 or 27, because right now they're ranked 6th in the country with sophomores. So it's pretty exciting group.
And I think one of the great stories about that Bartlett group, those two sophomores went 65-0 in junior high and won the Tennessee state championship, which I didn't know states had junior high state championships. You probably don't want to get that started here or let that get out, do you, in Missouri? But,
no.
Let's don't go there. But that it's a group that I guess Penny Hardaway had been to watch them play in junior high, Memphis.
Absolutely.
That doesn't happen very often. But kind of talk about the process now, because I'm not sure I still understand the division between like a Link Academy in Branson, the academies, and then you look at Paul VI, they're number one in the poll. There's two different kind of groupings now, are there not?
Yeah, so I really think they're doing a good job, and I don't know if this is the best way to say it, Scott, but it's the way it makes sense to me. Everyone in our field this year can win a state championship. And that is really the difference. Link Academy down in Branson, they are an affiliate member with the Missouri State High School Activity Association. So what that gives you is the ability for Springfield Central to decide to start their year off playing Link, because they want to play someone that plays faster and is stronger and is bigger than anybody that they'll play all year long. So affiliate members have the ability to play schools that are in their state. They just cannot be in the postseason. So this year's TOC, kind of the last, I'd say it's the last 4 iterations that I've had, I've kind of gone academy, not academy, not. So last year we had Link Academy in. This year we don't have any academies. Next year there could be a possibility of having, not to tip my hand too much, but there's a very good likelihood that we will have academies back. And it's one of those situations where we want to bring the best teams that we can find. We want to bring the best talent in that we can find for Southwest Missouri, but we also want to try and keep it fresh. So you're worried about who you bring in on an annual basis.
And of course, the challenge you face with academies and these high level teams is it's much like the college game now, transfer portal. And, a Link Academy may have a national champion one year and have 600 classmen, and none of those kids are back the next year because they're all kind of poaching each other, aren't they, at that side of it, especially?
Yeah, but without giving too much away, last year when we signed the link, I talked to Adam and Coach Chad. I think they had one or two kids on their roster. Those are really safe gets,
Sure,
because they're going to be loaded and they're going to be good. So actually, there's less, in my opinion, there's less scrutiny to be done on those, and there's less. I don't want to say downside, but less of a chance of player movement, because player movement's going to be there. You just know the player movement's going to be in, and they're going to be really, really good.
Again, doing this for 7.5 years, have you heard a no yet from anybody, or is it always when you call them pretty much, hey, we're coming?
Yeah, we've not heard much, unless there's been player movement.
Yeah.
I've had to make a couple of phone calls in the last 8 years where I've had to, hey, Scott, is it true? Did so-and-so leave? And they're like, yes, they left. And I'm like, well, listen. And usually it goes something like, I'm so glad you called, because I didn't know how I was going to call and tell you we didn't want to come.
Yeah.
So that has worked well. I had one person, our unicorn, I won't say that coach's name or that school, really, really wanted to get them down here. They had a kid that will be in the NBA. I think he's in the NBA this year, played at a blue blood school, unbelievable. But with their state, they were only allowed a certain amount of non-conference games. And part of where their alumni was at a tournament that they went to out of state. So it was a financial reason. I just couldn't get them here, because I know without a doubt, if I can get them here, they'll want to keep coming back.
You got two local teams with Rogersville and Kickapoo, with very competitive coaches, very well coached teams with John Schaefer at Raj and Mitch McHenry at Kickapoo. They're not going to back down from anybody. What's been the reaction? I know you'll find out more probably Thursday at your bracket reveal breakfast, but indications from them are, hey, we're ready. We want to take this on.
So I called Coach Schaefer. What would it be? It'd be 2 Augusts ago, right? So it would have been, this is 26. So it'd been August of 24, maybe September. And I called Coach and just started talking with him. And I was like, hey, I want to make sure TOC weekend. And he goes, wait, are you talking about 26? And I said, yes, we're looking at 26. He goes, oh man, I'm so glad. I thought you were going to tell me somebody dropped out or you had player movement and you wanted us to come early. He goes, we would have come, but I was really hoping to wait until the next year. And I'm like, no, I'm just telling you early, that count on 26. Mitch and John, I mean, they're just they fight, they grind, and their kids do everything right, and they embody that. So it's a situation where I talked to Mitch a little earlier at a tip-off club or something like that. I'm like, hey, the bracket release, and he goes, I know, we're going to play somebody really good. So whatever happens. So it's it would have been nice to get a little more height at Kickapoo the last year or the previous year whenever we had an option. It's just this year worked better for the tournament, worked better for the city, and I love Mitch McHenry. He's gonna come in any year that we ask him.
Absolutely. We talked about Jordan Smith Jr., who's probably, if you had to label, a marquee player for fans to watch and maybe try to get that autographed. That's the Paul VI guard, 6'3". He was MVP at the City of Palms and really took over down there. Other players to watch: Colvin Landrew, 6'5" senior from Wheeler, Georgia. He's a UConn signee. We talked about Christian Collins from St. John Bosco, still uncommitted. He had 31 last week in his first game back after the break, so he's ready to go. Calvary Christian from down in Florida. Caden Daughtry is a 6'1" junior, kind of considered one of the top point guards in the country. He's the guy that could score 30 on every night of the tournament here. Bartlett's got the trio: 6'7" junior Dylan Jones, 6'8" sophomore DJ Okoth, and then 6'1" sophomore point guard Braylon Williams, the guys to watch. And then Principia, which is kind of the if there's anybody has shot up in this in terms of national reputation in the last month, it'd be the St. Louis school, Quentin Coleman, their 6'4" senior, who is a Wake Forest commit. All he did was have 37 points when they beat Wheeler down in the city of Palm. So an excellent field of teams and individuals. And that Principia story, that's kind of one of the wild ones in your tenure, isn't it now, that you thought, hey, we got a pretty good Missouri school, Class 3 coming down that will represent itself well, and all of a sudden they're coming in as the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah, it was a huge surprise. I mean, we honestly, when you look at the field of what we're trying to do, you're always going to have 2 local teams. You're always going to have 1 regional, possibly 2 regional teams with how good basketball is in the Midwest. And then you're looking at 4 or 5 of the best teams in the country that you can find. I no idea that Bartlett and that Principia would be 2 top 6 teams in the country. Yeah. Just absolutely unbelievable.
And so, and that's the perfect balance. You want stars, you want teams, you want entertainment, and that's what the Tournament Champion has done since 1985 when Dr. Edsel Matthews, the late Dr. Edsel Matthews, and Carol Robinson of Bass Pro, and they got together and came up with this great idea and have put pressure on you and Mark Fisher and everybody else to keep it running properly, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk about tickets. What's the situation? People that watch this, if they want to jump out and get advanced tickets late this week, early next week, how do they do so?
So all of our ticket sales are through Missouri State University at the Great Southern Bank box office there at the arena. So the best thing to do is to go to the MSU box office, single day tickets, 3-day tickets, all of it is there for anybody and everybody that is looking for tickets. We're up, which is really, really exciting for ticket sales from today. I checked on it. Our ticket sales are up from a year ago to this day. So there are tickets available, but they're starting to go very, very quickly.
Yeah. And of course, it'll be the Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights of next week. You'll have the Cardinal Caravan in on their usual appearance on Friday evening, I believe. I think that's rolling through town again. You've got your slam dunk contest and 3-point competition as well. What days or nights are those?
So the 3-point contest, we're going to do a little bit differently than we did last year. After game 2 of each night, we're going to shoot the 3-point contest. So we're going to have 4 quarterfinals going after game 2 on night 1, Thursday. After night 2 on Friday, we're going to have the 2 semifinals. And then before the dunk contest, so starting probably right about 6 p.m., we'll have the finals of the Country Financial 3-point contest. And then we'll move straight into the Great Southern Bank Slam Dunk Contest on Saturday night.
We'll have another Tournament Champions Hall of Fame induction. We won't give that away as to the recipient of that. Should be a fun surprise there. And then for those people that are out of the area that can't make it, Nixa Live is again doing the live broadcast of the tournament, the student-run broadcast group down at Nixa High School. How can people access that broadcast, and is there a cost?
And so there is a cost. It's $20 a day, but that gets you all 4 games if you choose to. And you can find all of those games on springfieldsports.net. And if you look at the top, there's going to be a schools tab. If you click that schools tab, right next to it, there should be a Tournament of Champions. But if not, just scroll to the bottom. But we'll have 7 cameras going. We'll have 2 people telecasting it. We'll have in-game interviews with coaches coming off the court. So it'll be a wonderful production, and we're really excited to have Nixa Live helping us for the 2nd year.
Josh, we had Danielle King of KY3 on our radio show this week, and we offered her up as a prop for anybody that wanted to use her in the slam dunk competition, jump over the media person. So probably don't want to do that with Ned, but maybe Danielle, right?
Well, if you've been to the slam dunk contest in the last couple of years, I think we could add Danielle just to the front of who they jump over, and it will be just totally fine.
Exactly, yeah. Josh, always appreciate your time. Looking forward to another great tournament, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Scott. Take care.
Josh Scott, the Director of Athletics for Springfield Schools and Tournament Director for the Bass Pro Tournament Champions. Our Around the Ozarks Sports Scene podcast wouldn't be possible without great sponsors. And we want to thank Thompson Sales, Colton Steakhouse, and our latest sponsor who's joined us. We're very appreciative to have Deadeye Gun and Pawn on. And the owner of Deadeye, Jonathan Lawrence, is on with us. Jonathan, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
You bet. Came out today, checked out the store. You're on Main Street in Sparta. Nice location, easy to find, and got just about anything that a gun enthusiast would want to walk out of the store with, correct?
Yeah, we have everything from pistols, shotguns, rifles to high-end guns, fun guns, you name it. Accessories, ammo, you name it.
What's hot in the gun world right now? I think you mentioned that the silencers, or what's the suppressors is the proper word, right?
Silencer suppressors are kind of used synonymously, but yeah, it's hot right now. For almost 100 years, 90 years now, you've had to pay a pretty exorbitant fee in my mind and lots of other people's minds to get what they call a tax stamp to possess one. The tax stamp fee has gone away as of January 1st, and but that's about it. That's all it's changed. So, but saving a couple $100 and there's been some advances in technology that make the background check and application process faster. But yeah, that's kind of a hot topic right now out there.
Well, made the trip out to Sparta, and this will surprise no one that knows me because I can talk. Walked in, met Jonathan, and got to talking about Ozark High School football back in the early 2000s when he was a star running back for the Tigers for Phil Montgomery's team. And that discussion lasted about 30 minutes because when we start talking football, there's really no end to the discussion, is there?
No, sir. And, when I was approached to be a sponsor of your show, I was happy to do so. I think the Ozarks have amazing football programs, basketball, baseball, wrestling, about any athletics. And, I'm actually sitting in Nixa now. My children go here. So it's kind of a change of pace for me from an Ozark grad to a Nixa supporter, but love to do it. And like I said, I'm happy to be a sponsor on your show.
Well, certainly appreciate it. And you guys are recently new to this business. I mean, you're not new to guns, been a gun enthusiast all your life, but you and your family took over the business about a year ago now, right?
Yep. April is when we closed on it and kind of exchanged keys and started this new venture in our life for sure.
Yeah. And again, it's a great place for handguns, for rifles. I like the array of stuffed animals all around. None of those are yours that you can claim, or are they?
We've got a few in the shop, but yeah, the bulk of them are what we call furniture, fixtures, and equipment. But yeah, we have some interesting mounts, that's for certain.
Talk about the area you draw from. I mean, you get clients from pretty much all over Southwest Missouri and beyond, don't you?
Yeah. So Sparta, there's a lot of outdoor enthusiasts there, but we've got reach, as far east as past Ava, all the way down south of Gainesville, Branson, Kimberly City, Reed Spring. We've got customers that drive down from Kansas City, Clinton area, but yeah, we service a pretty wide area of customers.
Yeah, being almost a year into it, coming up this April, what are some of the plans you have to just continued growth, or what's on your docket for 2026?
So if you're not changing and advancing, you're dying, right? So 2026, we're in talks and in works, and I would call it the investigative phase of putting in an indoor range.
Wow.
We're looking at having one of the longest indoor ranges in Southwest Missouri, short of Bass Pros. But it's a need when you've got guys that are buying firearms and wanting to shoot them and become better at their skill, or brand new people wanting to purchase a gun that haven't shot before. There's definitely a need to be able to test and shoot in a safe environment. As well as, you might not want to go shoot at a crowded outdoor range that you don't know the people on the lane beside you, or you just don't want to deal with the elements. So, yep, that's in our focus for 2026. We'll see, but yep, that's definitely something we're looking at doing for the shop. Constantly building inventory, trying to secure inventory that people are looking for, whether that be a specific firearm or just an accessory for their firearm.
Well, you're very active on your Facebook social media pages with specials and new arrivals and things like that. Just look for Deadeye Gun and Pawn on Facebook, and I'm sure you've got a website. What's the website address?
So the website is deadeyegunsupply.com, or you can just Google Deadeye Gun, and it's one of the top returns in your search. But yep, deadeyegunsupply.com.
And you can do some e-commerce there. Is that correct? They can buy off the website.
So we've got two types of inventory. We've got in stock or in store, which is actual physical inventory we have in store, or I'm connected with 5 of my wholesalers. So if it's online and you order, we typically have that in store within we'll say 5 business days, sometimes as short as 2 business days. But yep, you can order online, check out online, and not even have to deal with me until it's time to pick up your purchase.
Well, I would finish this by saying go Tigers, but you live in Nixa and you got a son that plays football and wrestles for Nixa. Is it go Eagles, go Tigers, or go both?
It's go both, right? Or go Eagles. That's where my allegiance. That's where I'm actually sitting in Nixa High School's 3rd floor because my son's downstairs in wrestling practice. But like I said, I love to support all the local teams. It's great. It's good. It's good to watch the younger generations picking up, where I left off, and living through them, if you will.
Absolutely. Well, Jonathan, we appreciate your sponsorship. We'll have you on from time to time with specials, whatever you want to talk about. And thanks again for your time and your sponsorship.
Absolutely appreciate the opportunity, Scott.
You bet. Thank you. Jonathan Lawrence, the owner of Deadeye Gun and Pawn out in Sparta. Shop's right there on Main Street. If you're driving down Main Street, Sparta, you can't miss it. And got some really cool stuff in there. If you need a gun for recreation, for protection, go see Jonathan, and he'll set you up. And it sounds like maybe there's going to be a range in there at some point too. So big thanks to Deadeye. Also thanks to Thompson Sales, located 1555 East Independence in South Springfield. They've been in business since 1919. If you've got a new Buick, GMC, or Cadillac car or truck on your wish list for this year, go see the Thompson boys, because the Thompson boys are always dealing. And also thanks to Colton Steakhouse in Springfield, just down the street from Thompson's at 2020 East Independence. No better place for a lunch or dinner meal. Love their steaks. You get those hot rolls, the fresh peanuts. The burgers are the best in town. I don't think there's a better burger because they use steak meat for their burger meat there. And so go see Thomas Orr and his folks, and we certainly appreciate them as well. That's going to do it for this edition. Again, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week on Around the Ozark Sports Scene.